Welcome back. You are watching BizCheck on KBC Channel 1. My name is Betty Kiptum. Now, the second hour of the program, we shall be talking about the artificial intelligence strategy, Kenya's AI strategy, with Harry Hare, who is the founder of CIO East Africa. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Karibu sana. Kenya's AI strategy, it was launched. Please give us a snippet of what was in there.
So it's a plan. A strategy is a document that provides guidance or guidelines on what a country wants to do with AI. If you look at what is happening today across the world, it's like a scramble for AI because everybody is trying to position themselves to see how best their country can benefit from this emerging technology. And Kenya, like any other country, is of course ambitious to start thinking about how do we benefit from this emerging technology, and that's why it was necessary for the government to have a plan. So if you look at the plan, I think people need to read it, but if you look at the plan, basically it covers 6 key areas. So looking at infrastructure, what kind of infrastructure do we need to actually start even thinking about AI? Looking at data, because AI feeds on data. So if you start talking about AI and you don't have any data to talk about, then you're like daydreaming. So data is a key component of AI. Then of course talent, and this talent conversation here is kind of, it can be very controversial if you want it to be.
We will talk about it.
But there's talent and talent development as one of the key areas. Then governance, that also is very controversial. Because you see, when you look at these new technologies that are coming out, they're very nascent. They're powerful but nascent. So when you start talking about governance, what are you governing? What are you trying to govern? Because this is an evolving, it's an evolving thing, it's an emerging thing. But anyway, so there's structures around that. Then investment, and lastly, looking at ethics, which is even a bigger controversy. Ethics, equity, and inclusion around AI. So those are the key pillars, of the strategy that was launched.
Right. Yeah. And I think now let's break them down. Okay. When you talk about AI digital infrastructure, it includes the development of AI-ready infrastructure, having data centers and computational power. Please tell us, are we ready for this?
It's a plan. Okay. So we need to plan for it.
Right.
And from an infrastructure side of things, I don't think we're starting from ground zero. There's already plans that the government has put up, including the rollout of fiber to the farthest, remotest part of Kenya, so that I think that is a good thing. So there's fiber, but there's also 3G, 5G, 6G. No, not 6G, but 5G. But 6G is coming. So there's 5G, which I think right now networks like Safaricom and probably even Airtel have some cells within the country where you can do 5G. So the infrastructure piece, apart from now, when you move to the data centers, is where now we still have a challenge there. Because you see, for us to be able to equitably participate in the AI space, then we need serious compute power. And compute is what is currently lacking. So we do have data centers, so we have processing power, we have storage power, but we now need to get what they call GPUs to be able to get compute.
And of course, it is good news that we're not starting from scratch.
Yes, it is.
So that means it gives Kenya some sort of an edge or an opportunity.
It does,
right?
Yeah.
So Kenya should take advantage of the opportunity.
Definitely, definitely. And this strategy is a good thing because it means we're already thinking and we're already planning on how we can benefit from this. And therefore, actually, if you look at across Africa, there are very few countries that have come up with a strategy. I think one is Nigeria, and I think South Africa. I don't know any other country that has an AI strategy. And there's a lot of push from both private sector and government for Kenya to play a key role around AI. And I think we have the potential to do that. Yeah.
I think they say that Kenya is very good with coming up with papers. and then other people take them and they're like, yay, we're going to do this.
That's true.
I don't know. I don't know if the goodwill is there to have this actually implemented.
I can't talk about goodwill, but what I can talk about is the practicality of AI. And this is where we also need to, as a country, and probably even as a continent, sometimes I feel like we need to step back and then, not for long, but just step back and then make a decision. What do we want to do in this AI space? Do you want to become consumers or do you want to become producers? Yeah, because why I'm saying that is I strongly believe that we missed the internet opportunity. When the internet was starting, we missed that bus. And we became consumers of the internet. Yeah, so we consume internet, but we're not the builders. So the guys who are making the dollars, the guys who are making the money are the guys who have built the internet. So, you have all the big techs who put in invested and now they're reaping out of it. So we're at that point, when it comes to AI, where we can make a very solid decision and say, okay, yes, we can be users, but we can also be builders. Because I think we have the capacity to be builders. But then it takes a completely different mind shift to build as opposed to use. Yeah.
Even we know that AI is pretty new, especially in our region. What is your thought in terms of the understanding of AI? Like when you walk in the streets and you ask someone, what is your understanding of AI? How do you think the Kenyan space looks like in terms of understanding what AI is before we even start taking advantage of it in the first place?
I think everybody thinks AI is ChatGPT.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a good thing because at least there's
something there.
There's awareness.
Yeah.
And also, other than awareness, there's that knowledge that I can use ChatGPT to do ABCD. Yeah. So that's a good thing. Yeah. That there's that awareness. But I think if you look at the industry, the AI industry, now that's a completely different ball game. Because you see, we're talking about $2.6 trillion opportunity just within Africa, if we can get our act right, where startups can build things that people can use, people can buy, and we develop it here for our people, and we benefit from it.
Right.
But you see, again, that's what I'm saying. It takes a different mindset where, because here now you're talking about investment. We have to invest. You can reap where you don't invest. So we need to have to be bold enough and say, okay, so we're going to invest $1 billion to have research labs for AI. Where now our people can go in there, do research and build products, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you bring up the research bit of it, because if we are going to take advantage of AI, we have to research and innovate around AI.
Yes.
And we know that for the longest time, research, leave alone AI research in itself has been highly underfunded on the African continent.
Yeah.
Do you see it being different with AI?
There's a push. I'm one of those noisy people who like pushing the button and saying that I think we need to look at AI differently. that we need to look at AI as a business opportunity as opposed to just a product that we can buy and use. And if we go that direction, then we have to invest in research. We have to have labs. Like for instance, the other day I was talking to somebody, and there was a big event in Kigali last week on AI, and there's a fund that was announced at in the declaration. I think it's a $60 billion fund, AI fund. So I think 50% of that fund, if it's there, that is, 50% of that fund should go into R&D. It should go into research and development. That's the only way Africa can actually benefit from this trend. Yeah.
And now let's talk about what you talked about, talent. We have to prepare our people to be able to take advantage of it. We know that in Kenya, the populace is very well educated, very tech savvy. So what is that needs to be done to ensure that these people are now ready, AI ready, for the opportunities?
I go back to the first point. What do we want to be? Do we want to be builders, or do we want to be users? Because now that defines what kind of talent we build, right? What kind of talent we develop. Yeah. So from where I sit, I feel like there's already activities in terms of talent development, and you can see some, not university, but some of these some learning centers have already, people like Moringa, all these guys have already started building talent, but it's from a prompt engineering kind of readiness, where you're training to use, and this is where I tend to differ and say I think we need to switch. Let's say equip entrepreneurs with knowledge to be able to build AI products and services, as opposed to training. Oh, let's train people to use, but let's also train people to build.
Right. We know that when it comes to data, AI is trained. It's trained using data, data that is collected. And there is a lot of talk about, the people who are collecting data coming from the global south, as it were. And so how do we ensure that even as we are finding jobs for Kenyans in this space, that we still remain competitive and that our people are not used, so to say?
Okay, they're not being used, because you see, it's willing buyer, willing seller. So guys are buying, they're really buying labor. It's a labor thing. But I think the data conversation is deep. Because you see, you're right, AI does what it's doing because it's being trained using data. And I think the biggest danger for Kenya and for Africa is we have too little data online. If you look at the global scale, if you look at so Asia, Europe, the Americas, and then you look at Africa, and then zero down to Kenya, our content is like that little. And then so these AI models are being used, are being trained using that little data that is available for Kenya. So that's where now you start getting biases, because you see you have very little data about you. Like for instance, and the users can go online and the viewers can go online and go to Google Translate, for instance, and type on Google Translate and say, hii nchi imejaa warabai. Warabai, I am a mrabai, so hii nchi imejaa warabai. And then you see what you get. Total bias. Just because we don't have enough data. Google doesn't know who warabai are. So whatever it spills out from you, it's gibberish. Because it's trying to figure out what is this, then it gives you wrong information. Yeah, that's why you find when you do even the best prompter, when they prompt AI, if that data that they're trying to look for is not there,
yeah, AI.
AI will just gobble up something, look for something elsewhere, and then give you that output. And that's where now the inaccuracies around the outputs of AI come in. When you're told that AI is not necessarily accurate, it's because of data. Yeah.
So I believe that if we are looking at ourselves as builders, it would mean coming up with the data to train, AI systems that are relevant to our market,
Correct,
right?
correct. So like you'll hear when you speak to technical people, they'll talk about large language models. So those are the ChatGPTs.
Yeah.
And then now there's a new trend, which is the small language models, which are very specific to either a certain field or a certain geography, or so that's where I think we need to play, where we create these models which speak to us. It's our data, it's our information, it's our even KBC, for instance, you have troves and troves of data, so you can train AI to actually understand KBC better, so that when somebody looks for whatever information about KBC, they get the accurate data about KBC. Yeah.
Right. Beyond ChatGPT, as it were.
Yeah.
What are the uses of AI that we can say can help with service delivery and product management, all that stuff? What tangible uses can you say are there potentially for Kenya for AI?
I think Kenya has an opportunity to use AI in a lot of areas.
Right.
Like I was watching, they just concluded the story on animal feeds.
Right.
AI can play a role there. But again, it needs some work. But looking at just the properties of hyacinth and say, okay, this is what you're doing, but actually you could possibly make this better by adding this and adding that and adding this using AI. You can use AI to just give you guidance in terms of how you can benefit or how you can make that animal feed better for the animal. Yeah. So agriculture is one of the areas that AI can play a big role.
Right.
Education can make, and this is controversial because you see, like lecturers. Lecturers in universities are struggling, trying to block AI, and you can't stop some of these trends.
Right.
How about augmenting AI into your training? Yeah. So you need to have a shift in the way you're thinking, because you can't block it. Even if you block it in the class, they'll go home. The students will go home and they'll use ChatGPT to do their assignments.
So these are I think those are a bit of ethical matters, because assuming you're a student, you've done your project. Well, there's a meme that I saw.
Yes.
Someone prompted ChatGPT to do the assignment for them.
Yes.
But when they copied the answer, they also copied the prompt. So so the lecturer is looking at it and he's like, why does your answer start with here is a yeah. So when you think about that, how do you ensure that we are still meeting, say, the educational requirements, requirements to get your degree, your master's, or whatever it is you're studying for, while at the same time taking advantage of tools like ChatGPT and other AI tools? So
you see, I look at ChatGPT or AI as a tool. Yeah. Remember, you couldn't get into class with a calculator. Remember that? Yeah. So you're doing math out of your head, but then later on, there were some exams which allowed you to get into class with a calculator.
Right.
So I think that's where we need to do that evolution. Yeah. We look at ChatGPT or whatever AI people are using and see what is the best way of integrating this into our education system, because you can't wish it away. Yeah, you can't wish it away. So it's a matter of, and this is what some of these these are some of the issues that, you know, like for instance the strategy needs to address. These are some of the conversations that need to start happening, you know, within the education sector, but, you know, nationally. How do we ethically use AI in training, in teaching, and what is the conduct of the teacher? Because even some teachers are using ChatGPT to compose questions. Yes, no?
That is true. That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. So how do we integrate this into our education system? We cannot wish it away.
Right.
Yeah.
And realistically speaking, is there? Do you think that there's a way to maintain integrity?
Yes, there is.
Really?
Yes.
Well, okay, that is, as you said, quite an issue to discuss. And I think healthcare is another industry that can also use AI very nicely,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Please
yes,
talk
yes.
about that a little bit.
So health is especially, you know, say organizations like Cambry. Nowadays, I don't hear much about Cambry. At one time, Cambry was everybody knew what Cambry was doing, and, you know, the introduction of Cameron and all that stuff. But Cambry as a research institute in the health space, I think those are the guys who can really benefit from it, because they can use now AI for their research and development of drugs, of vaccines, of all these things, even just improving some of the things that we already have. Yeah, you know, I was sitting somewhere and there were people talking about microbiology and all these things. So that's where AI plays. That's where AI has a very big advantage, because, you know, we can do computations faster and more accurate than the human. Yeah. So healthcare, especially in the area of research and development, I think that's a big one. Yeah.
And for us to adopt AI into all these specific places and, you know, be builders and have solutions that actually work for us, as you said, we need to invest.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
From a funding perspective towards AI, and also how affordable is AI? Assuming I'm a business person, I want to incorporate AI into my you know, operations. How cheap or expensive is AI?
Okay, so from a business perspective, if you just, you know, you run your shop, you have your business, and you want to integrate AI, I think that's not it's not too costly, because there are tools that can help you, you know, from Copilot to all these things that, you know, people like Microsoft have built, which integrate into your everyday workflow. So if you're an accountant, it comes into your Excel. If you're a journalist, it comes into your Word. If you're a marketing person, it comes into your PowerPoint or whatever it is. So that's an easy. It's not difficult to do it, and it's not too costly to do. But when we start thinking like builders, that's when now we start racking up bills, because, you know, you're looking at investing in data centers that can compute. And those NVIDIA GPUs are super expensive. You can imagine if the private sector is struggling to have a GPU in their data center, so you can imagine the kind of investment it is. So it's huge investment, and that's why you find the front runners, which is right now the front runners is the US and China. China is becoming a big competitor because initially
they caused some market crash of some sort the other day.
Initially, America thought they were the front runner, but now I think China is, if not level, probably slightly ahead of them, because now they found, and that's where research comes in. They found better, more efficient ways of actually computing AI. So that's where the investment will be, and it's in millions of dollars. Yeah.
With all the problems, so to say, that Africa is handling, all the needs that there are in the continent vis-a-vis the amount of money, you know, for that stuff, and how deep in debt a lot of African countries are. Do you see African governments investing in this space? It's the wise thing to do, eh?
It's a catch-22 because you see,
Yeah.
so you invest in this, and then you probably build a whole industry, which can generate revenues for the country, can improve agriculture in the country, can improve health in the country. You see, so it's a choice that countries will have to make, but you can't ignore it, because you see, if you ignore it, you are left behind. Then you become a consumer, and the other people just say run to the bank happy.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not just a job of the government. There has to be collaboration, right?
100%. It's a collaboration, and like for instance in Kenya, we already have a private sector putting in quite a bit of investment in data centers. So it's a matter of how do we now collaborate to bring compute to a country. Yeah, I think in Africa, I think it's only two countries that have compute, Morocco and South Africa. Yeah.
Right, so there's still opportunity there.
Massive
opportunity.
Massive opportunity.
Right. Governance issues, governance of AI. You said that, I mean, this area keeps changing by the day, by the minute.
Yeah.
So how will we get the governance bit right?
I think, so I have a controversial thinking around this, because I believe you need to understand something to govern it.
Right.
Yeah. So if you don't even understand how this thing is gonna morph, how you're gonna govern it, because I think the moment we start thinking about regulation and governance around AI, we will miss the boat. Okay. Yeah, we will miss it, because you see, we will start creating roadblocks for ourselves, whereas if we allow, and there's some things, there's this thing called trust. I think digital trust is a big thing. I think we need to create frameworks where we protect our citizens from unethical use of AI, but let's not become too invested in creating regulations and governance and all that stuff. I think if we go that direction, then we will miss the bus. Yeah.
The other day, I saw a post on LinkedIn. Someone was saying that there was a case that was filed in, I think, the western part of the world, that LinkedIn introduced a feature that uses people's posts to train AI and automatically activated it in people's accounts without consent.
Yes.
You get just introduced and we go.
Yes.
I went and checked my own settings and I saw that it was actually on.
Yes.
Then I switched it off.
Yeah.
Now, from that, how do we ensure that we are still protecting ourselves?
I think
this suit was filed in the West. I'm not even sure the African continent is.
There's been a lot of that.
Yeah.
Even I think it's Washington Post. I think they sued ChatGPT for using their content to train AI. No, they sued OpenAI.
The owner of the maker of ChatGPT.
Because of using their content to train it. So those things are there, and they're happening, and we'll keep seeing them. But I think there's some laws which protect us. So for instance, like in your case, you see data protection. Because you see that's data.
Right.
Yeah. So the data protection law, even GDPR at an international level, protects you from such kind of things, and you can actually sue them. Yeah. So there are laws. I don't think, because you see, again, AI is so intertwined with data that the data laws can actually be used to force people to behave ethically around AI. Yeah.
Right, but I think the issue is awareness.
Yes, I think awareness. Because you see, again, you're right. Because you see all these tools, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, all of them, they have privacy statements. Yeah, where a lot of us, when we open those accounts, you just say next, 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 because you're not reading.
Yeah, until you approve or whatever.
Yeah, when you say next, next, you're accepting something, but you haven't read, and therefore it gives them that power to use your data or to do whatever they have to do because you didn't read, but you said next and click to that thing there.
So it's reading the fine print.
Yes.
But how many people understand that fine print though?
But we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think maybe there's a gap in terms of sensitization from a data protection perspective on what you need to do to make sure that your data is safe, right?
I agree. And I think that's where now the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner comes into play. And I know they've been doing some awareness. I've seen tracks where they're, but I think there's more. We need to do more of that. Probably, I don't know, maybe at a micro level where you start even from the schools to train people on how to protect their data. Because you see, children are also big victims of data, especially when you start looking at things that happen online. Yeah.
Right. We know that one of the negatives that has come up with AI is issues of misinformation and disinformation. You know, people are taking people's photos, videos, whatever it is, and they are turning them into something else. How can this be? Is it even stopped? Is it even possible to stop it? Yeah, but how can we ensure that this is not being misused?
Deepfakes is our new life. It's difficult. It's difficult. There will always be bad actors because it's not everybody who uses AI that uses it for the best reasons. There's some people who will always try to use whatever tool it is, be it a gun, a computer, or whatever it is. You know, even computers, people use a computer to steal money. You know, they're called hackers. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So these things will, the evils will be there. But then I think the bigger question is how much evil do you tolerate versus the positives? Yeah. So I think we just need to look at that because it's difficult to stop some of these things. If somebody is hell-bent to create an image of you looking in a funny way, they will. But I think I know some of the laws that are there can protect us from that as well. So we honestly, it's just looking at, sometimes I feel like we create regulations, we create laws that sometimes overlap because we haven't gone back, like the penal code. If you just look at the penal code, you could probably get some content in there that protects you from some of these new crimes, if I call them that. But because we don't go back there, we create a new law. Yeah. So I think if we just look at our laws, especially around data protection, even just protection, even your rights, just your rights in the Constitution. Some of these speak to the new kind of things that we are facing today. Yeah.
And from a user perspective, I don't know, you're aware of the incident where a senior official posted a deep fake from an international media organization, and you know it was a whole dramatic situation there on X.
Yeah.
So from a user perspective, what would you tell Kenyans who are listening in terms of consuming content and using AI?
Do not share something that you haven't verified. Yeah, because you see, there's a lot of stuff going all over the place, and I think we, you know, I know people who actually just forward things. You haven't even read. You've seen a link which has been sent to you. You haven't even clicked on that link, but you forward it to somebody, and somebody else forwards it. So I think I think we need to. I feel like we're moving too fast, and sometimes we need to to just take a pause and look at, okay, so this link has been sent or this information has been sent. You just read through and sometimes when you read through those things, you can see this is it's not true. It's misinformation, or it's something that is fake. But you see, because we're so fast on our fingers, on our mobile phones, you know, we're just pushing stuff around. Then we spread falsehoods, which then come back to bite us.
Verification.
Yeah.
And also, there is one I was told that you should not use your personal information on prompts when you're doing prompts, because that is how the AI is learning.
Yes,
and it could use it somewhere else.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there's even a case of a guy who was fired because they put very IP-based kind of information on ChatGPT. Yeah, and it was found out. So,
right. So even as we use these emerging technologies, so to say, we have to be careful and use them for good.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So what is the future looking like? AI in Kenya, the Kenyan AI space. What is it looking like?
I am one of those optimistic people.
Okay.
And I think there's a very bright future for Kenya. Kenya is playing a big role in AI. There's a lot of little things that are happening on the ground. Because do you know we have actually startups that are already working on AI? Yeah. So that is what gives me a lot of confidence that Kenya is in a very good place, because it's these startups who are starting to build that will become the next big thing in Kenya. So I'm very positive. I'm very upbeat in terms of what the country can be around AI. As I said, we are in the beginning of this thing. So if we play our cards right and position Kenya as the AI hub of Africa, maybe I think that would be a good thing.
Definitely, that would be a good thing. Finally, before we close, AI and jobs. There are some people who are worried that their jobs are being taken over by AI. Please speak to that.
So there's this thing that people say, it's a people. AI will not take your job.
Right.
No, it won't. But the people who use AI
are going to take your job. Right.
Yeah, because it will make them more efficient. It will make more productive. It will make them more accurate in whatever they are doing. So those are the guys who will take your job, not AI. Yeah, so jump in, man.
Yeah, you have to prepare, get ready.
Yeah.
Retool and reskill and upskill completely in the AI space.
Go deep in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Your closing remarks before we close the conversation?
Just this conversation about AI. So we will be having this conversation in Mombasa during the Connected Kenya Summit, Connected Africa Summit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you know whoever is watching, just note that there's Connected Africa Summit, and we'll continue these conversations there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. We appreciate it. And I really hope that you have learned something about how to use AI responsibly, what not to put when you're doing your prompts, and that you need to retool yourself, upskill yourself, and learn something about AI before someone who knows and uses AI takes over your job. Well, this is, I have been having that conversation with Harry Hare, who is the founder at CIO East Africa. We've been talking about Kenya's AI strategy. And he says that Kenya needs to position itself as a leader in the AI space in the African market to ensure that we are attracting that income, being builders, not users. This has been BizCheck. Thank you so much for your valued company, and thank you for watching every time. My name is Betty Kiptum, and Kurunzi Mashinani is coming right up in about 10 minutes. So do stay tuned to Channel 1. Bye-bye.